Well, perhaps I can start by explaining what decent jobs are. In other words, these are jobs that offer opportunities for work that is productive and delivers a fair income, security in the workplace, and social protection for families that that offer better prospects for personal development and social integration, and for freedom for people to express their concerns, to organize themselves, and to participate in the decisions that affect their lives within their work. And of course, equality of opportunity and treatment for all. So, this is our aspiration for all working people, and no matter where they work, including whether they're working in the informal or formal economy. So I think you'd see from that there's no difference really between the way we define decent jobs for persons with disabilities and decent jobs for persons without disability. Having said that, proactive measures are necessary to ensure that workplaces, recruitment processes, training and career development opportunities are suitably scrutinized and, if necessary, adapted, including but not only through reasonable accommodations or adjustments, to ensure non-discrimination and equality of opportunity for persons with disabilities. So persons with disabilities, like persons without disabilities, should have access to the same opportunities for career progression and development, protection from any type of discrimination, both on the basis of disability and any additional ground. So, for example, gender, race, etc. Protection from violence and harassment, access to decent wages, occupational safety and health measures, the rights to join a trade union, and so on. And of course, employers are missing out on a huge talent pool if they're not making deliberate and intentional efforts to engage with, to recruit, and to, of course, retain persons with disabilities, retain including through, offering not only, decent working conditions, but the opportunities to progress, throughout their working lives. Increasingly, we see that more and more companies are recognizing, in fact, that the more diverse and inclusive workplaces are, the more they yield better business results. So more inclusive companies are better at innovating, at problem solving, attracting and keeping talent, and therefore more competitive in the labor market. And over the last few years, the inclusion of persons with disabilities has gained more and more importance in the diversity and inclusion efforts of companies, even if many companies still unfortunately overlook disability and accessibility issues in their diversity and inclusion work. But we're seeing that companies who are really committed to disability inclusion might still struggle with the how of disability inclusion, and are looking for perhaps some guiding principles and some approaches that have proved to be successful, which goes to the heart of your question. We have some practical examples of companies coming together to share their own approaches and practices through networks. For instance, the ILO has a global business and disability network, which is a worldwide platform comprising over 30 multinational enterprises and still growing, which facilitates the sharing of resources and tools to promote the inclusion of persons with disabilities in private sector employment. And there are similar networks at national level. So there are over 30 national business and disability networks which function in a similar way to the global network in terms of information exchange, sharing knowledge, sharing resources. And these national business platforms are operating more and more in developing economies as well as in, more high-income economies, and very often with the support of the ILO. And it's really crucial that companies learn also from organizations of persons with disabilities, or even from their own resource groups, internal resource groups on disability where they exist. And this would be absolutely in line with the rallying motto of the disability rights movement, right? Nothing about us without us. And of course, dialogue between workers' organizations and employers can help to ensure inclusion of issues particularly relevant to persons with disabilities in workplace policies, including recruitment processes, retention policies, occupational safety and health policies, and in collective agreements, so issues relating to wages, etc., etc. What we see from the work with companies and these national business networks that I've described is that in addition to the traditional challenges of, the lack of disability awareness amongst managers and co-workers, perhaps insufficient understanding of the measures that may be required to ensure that persons with disabilities are able to participate effectively in the workplace. So again, these reasonable adjustments or accommodations. We're seeing other issues coming to the fore, such as issues relating to digital accessibility, the use of artificial intelligence for recruitment and other business operations, and issues of addressing the employment of persons with disabilities in the supply chains of companies. So all these issues, I think, are emerging more and more and coming to the fore.